I will turn my volume up. I will turn y'all's volume up. And wah. There we go.
Wah.
Wah. You see, I see whenever we come to the Around the Hearths, no one does the wah because everybody's just so worn out because we record our games right before we do this. So that's why no wahs.
Wah. All I have for you is my unenthusiastic duck wah.
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 All right.
Wah, wah.
Well, greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Planar Crossroads, and welcome back to our Around the Hearth discussion, which we are doing another character conversion today. And this character conversion is a request from Tommy from Black Dragon Gaming, because he made the suggestion that we do conversions like this as part of benefits for patrons and stuff like that. And while I don't think he's a patron, but he is a guild master. So we're starting off with his suggestion. And
It's like being a patron.
It's like being a patron. You are contributing and helping us make content. So that is a thing. People that help us make content are considered guild masters. That aside the point, first thing we need to do is our announcements and disclaimer. So always less than 5 minutes. You can time me. Here we go. The Planar Crossroads, with this particular Around the Hearth, is an adult podcast that sometimes features adults, that sometimes use adult language. You have been warned. We are going to be getting close to our 500 mark on our subscribers, and that means that we're going to be giving away 2 physical items and probably a one-shot, so keep your ears open for that. Patreon for the Planar Crossroads is still going on, as well as Subscribestar if you do Subscribestar instead. And regarding those, we have our monthly giveaway coming up that is going to happen at the end of April, and it is going to be a Rick and Morty splat book for 5e. So even if you don't use 5e, you can still become a patron at the giant tier or higher, or a Subscribestar at flump level or higher, and you can get in on that drawing, because you can always convert, right? So you can have your own personal plumbus for all that it's used for, which is never really explained in the show. So, all right. And I believe that's everything. You guys got anything else? I don't think Tommy left us with any announcements before he peaced out, so yeah. Everybody ready?
Yep. Sure.
Okay. So, as you have guessed from the title, we are converting Tamiyo, who is a Magic the Gathering planeswalker. So, if you like Magic the Gathering, this is going to be there are going to be elements of how to do that in your games here, but also we're going to be specifically going over Tamiyo so that we can get an idea of how you might build her. We're probably going to do most of the building in Open Legend, but you can do it a little bit in Pathfinder. As a disclaimer for this, you could always take the stuff from 5e that it's done from Wizards of the Coast and convert that setting, the Ravnica setting that they put out, into Pathfinder. But that's an awful lot of work for something that is just as easy to reflavor, in my opinion. So if you want to do that, you can, but it's up to you guys. So
we're not doing it here.
We're doing it here. We're doing it live. We're doing it here. Okay. So, who wants to start?
I would. Oh.
Well, I was actually just going to say I don't really know a lot about Tamiyo, so if somebody else wants to go.
Okay. I actually wanted to throw in a little perspective before we went into the full-on conversion.
Okay.
That if you are running a Planeswalker game and everyone is intended to work on the scale of a planeswalker, rather than specifically building that mechanic in, I think it would be better just to assume every player has that ability.
Yeah.
And like not have it require build points or anything. That's just built into the game.
Yep. From what I remember about Magic the Gathering lore, Planeswalker sparks ignite in somebody or something like that. Like it's something that gets awakened in them, and not everybody has it. And if you do, it doesn't always get awakened until something big happens or some kind of revelation. So that's definitely accurate. You could either, if you're gonna do it, don't have it like a build point thing, like you're saying. We were chatting about this before. If you're gonna do it and everybody's a planeswalker, don't require the build points. Now, if one of you is a planeswalker and the others aren't, then you might want to consider requiring the build points for something like a perk or a perk that would do that, and then just have it, because planeswalking, if I remember right, it's not particularly something that you would need to roll for anyway.
I would say it depends on like how much control you want to have over it and whatnot. Right? Like, say you just want it to be part of your character that you've awakened the spark, you can planeswalk, but maybe like you literally only have the ability to go from one plane to the next. You don't have the ability to control where you land on that plane, and a variety of things like that. I could see that being just a perk.
Mm.
But if you want to actively be a planar traveler, either boon access or taking points in movement. So in this case, the big thing we want is teleportation.
Right.
Right? We want the teleport boon. That comes from either movement or boon access lets you get access to any boon, but by the name, obviously. Anyway.
Do you think you could do something like where if you were going to run a game like this, everyone would start with the teleport boon as planeswalkers, as Tamiyo certainly would, but you could spend build points into having a more accurate ability to teleport to specific places. Like, probably planes that you had never been before. Like crapshoot if you're going somewhere you've never been.
Like, I would say in this case that you could just make Planeswalker a perk. So in this game, you can get, you can start off with, 2 perks, 2 flaws. They just have a benefit once per session, generally. They're nice, but they're not super amazing. So if you're just going to have, a generic, hey, I can kind of go to this plane where I end up as a crapshoot, I think that'd be pretty fair. So, once per session, plane hop as a perk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not sure if you have to divide it on a meta scale with once per session. You could divide it. It's one of the situations where if you divide it on a meta scale, people will build around a meta scale. So, I don't know. The teleportation.
And it could be one per day, or.
Let me see. Range is increased. I'm just looking at the teleport boon to try and figure some stuff out.
So, the one I wanted to go with, most likely, minimum power level 7, that you could change it for your game. But, power level 9 says regardless of distance, and if you have a world where different planes exist, I think that would be fair to count that under that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what you could do is say the Planeswalker perk lets you use it can be invoked, and you can make it to where you could put a time thing on it, a time limit on it, as far as how long it takes you, because it says it takes let me see, it's instantaneous, but if you go up to 9 and stuff like that, or 7 and stuff like that, you can opt to take longer in invoking the boon to go farther. And that would give you the opportunity to say, okay, unless they do some other investments in movement or something like that for other things around the rest of their build, the Planeswalker boon allows them to hop dimensions. Only you kind of just get the dimension first. It sends you off in a basically safe place ish. You don't walk into the fire plane and die. Yeah. The perk allows you to do that and have access to that, but you only get teleport at 9 for that. So if you want,
yes,
because I know there's special, like extraordinary items and things like that can temporarily increase your scores for just doing this one thing. So you could do that with the Planeswalker perk instead.
Yeah. Because just for our less open legend savvy people in the chat, teleport goes everywhere from like hopping planes to I'm going to travel miles away to like mid combat I'm a hop 30 feet as a move action. And those are very different things from per se planeswalking. So like separating this out into the appropriate type is a pretty important aspect of keeping the feel without giving too much.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you're not lost on that.
And then so do all planeswalkers, are they, I suppose, like they represent, especially in much, much, much older blocks of Magic, the planeswalker is indistinguishable from the player. So are you as a planeswalker also just summoning things in all the time?
You can be. But different planeswalkers do it differently.
Right.
If you want to go into Magic deck building, right, like most decks have creatures that they summon because it's efficient. But like if you have friends already, like, right, it'd be like if you started the game with creatures on your board, it might be worth it just to use the equivalent of instants and sorceries, just buff, debuff stuff. But you definitely could summon creatures if you felt like it.
I was going to say, have you met some of the planewalkers? I wouldn't just go around assuming we have friends.
That's fair. But this is a game, and I'm hoping you do.
Yeah.
I mean, Jace has changed lately. Have you seen what he did in the
he's less of a whiny little bitch now, but he's still
whiny little bitch. As somebody that likes Jace the most,
just forced you to be his friend.
Attacked.
Yeah.
I feel personally Hey, Jace has become a lovely human being lately. He's become a good
so
friend.
we play the old version, and he forces you to become his friend.
Fair.
Yeah.
play the old master.
You could always just play Nicol Bolas and dominate and roast Lilith. I thought that was pretty cool cinematic that came out. But that's not...
All right,
that's for later.
If we're playing Nicol, we're at least level 15.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Nicol is cool beans. Okay. Evil, but very cool. We're trying to convert Tamiyo, and we're getting off topic. So that's what we would do. If it was me, I would go along with Levi's idea and go ahead and put in just a different perk that each of the players gets, and then they can pick whatever other one they want. But they get Planeswalker only for traveling between planes, and it basically is at a 7. You can spend some time to think about it. Later on, you can build into it if you want to, but from what I've seen, there's also Planeswalkers who just walk. They just walk from one plane to another, and they don't do much else with it besides that. They don't really specialize in that. Their magics are involved in other things, so that would give people enough freedom to either really get into it or really not. For Tamiyo, she has other stuff going on. So aside from the planeswalking, because we could go into more detail about how to convert magic into open legend, if that's what you guys want. You gotta let us know in the comments down below if that's what you want. But for now, let's go ahead and look at Tamiyo. Let's give some backstory for her so that can inform us on what we're building. So, based upon what we've read, Tamiyo is, as the character bio here that we're using on Gamepedia, is link in the description. Tamiyo is a truth seeker. She aims to understand, seeks the truth, and records that truth for all time. She is reluctant to interfere. And that's a nice little single sentence to give us an idea of what type of character we're going to build here. Because she's based upon the stories and her role in Innistrad, from what we've read in the War of the Spark with Ravnica, she's played a part in things, but she's mainly been like a chronicler, as someone that has gone to investigate. According to her backstory, she's also been heavily influenced by the moon, so that can play into your build as well, because she is, what are they called? Soratami, excuse me. And their whole thing revolves a lot around the moon. So I feel like it'd be a good idea to incorporate that somewhere in your build. Doesn't have to be necessarily mechanically, but at least in your roleplay, put that in there.
Right, like maybe she actually takes the time to write down and expand upon her notes under the moonlight.
Yeah. There you go. According to the references, she's her main element is water or blue, but she's also been her current play is green, white, blue, and her last print was a green and a blue. So that informs her battle style. Let me see what else we got in here. Loves knowledge, basically. Yes.
Mechanically, from her cards, her two core themes are tapping creatures and drawing cards.
Card draw.
Okay,
So how would you represent that as like gathering power in Open Legend? Like card draw, you would represent that as gathering power, and then tapping monsters, you would. Tapping is basically just lockdown, right? So
that's a
right.
bane, yeah.
So you could like immobilize or stun.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted, you could, because blue has some of that mind mage stuff, you could go into the hallucination territory.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And she just stands there watching them live their normal lives as they think they see the normal world. But she's just off there doing her own thing.
Mind mages. So how would you go about representing that in Open Legend? Sort of like the immobilization and like gathering power as a mechanic.
So, gathering power, first and foremost, heightened invocation is my favorite. You spend longer to do it better, is the basic shtick of it.
Yeah, and her race is pretty long-lived from what I understand, so that would really fit in with her.
Yeah, and on the note of perks, you could go ageless, or, like, space it out and it's ageless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. I like puns. I don't know if it's exactly a pun, but it felt like one. It had the same cringy humor vibe.
Dad humor's
close
dad
enough.
Humor.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway.
I would probably give her quite a bit in... She would want to do stuff in learning and probably logic. Her perception, her mental stats are probably pretty good. I don't know necessarily about will, because I don't know. She's got a 4 defense. That's not bad. 5 in...
Yeah, and that's
loyalty.
So that's like pure resolve.
Okay. That does not mean that you have to put a 5 in her resolve. In her.
It's very abstract.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So far right now, we're kind of looking. You're going to be leaning towards perks like Ageless and Heightened Invocation, and is there an ability or a perk you would go towards for Immobilize? Sorry, am I interrupting someone?
No.
I'm
in a different window, so I couldn't tell if someone was trying to shush me.
No.
Oh, Heightened Invocation. So is there a perk or ability you would want to take to represent the mechanic of immobilizing your opponent and your opponent's adds, or is that just like one of the base magics you would level into?
She would.
I'd say. Oh, you go.
I'm not sure about which supernatural one she would fit into, but you would usually use one of your attributes to be versus another person's, usually resolve for magic. But you could go against toughness or guard depending on how you're attacking them. So for her, she's probably more of a mind mage, which means she's going to be attacking resolve more than toughness or guard, usually. Which means, I don't know, learning and logic are harder to put into that, even though she has a lot of those.
Yeah, no. Learning or logic will be more out of combat, and like her categorizing and knowing what would be the most effective. For the case of immobilizing, influence is the really mind magic-y one.
Mm-hmm. That
and there's literally just the immobilized Bane.
Right. You just say,
Bane.
I want to give this person the immobilized Bane by using my influence to do so.
For mind magic, you want to be like, I want to convince them that they can't move their legs, or something like that. Or I want to put them to sleep with mind magic.
Mm-hmm.
For incapacitated, being the specific Bane. And you get access to those just by having influence. Like, you put your build points, specifically you put attribute points into the influence attribute, and you automatically get access to those Banes.
Okay. So we're looking at the Ageless perk, the Heightened Invocation. Is it a perk or an ability? Feat?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You probably want to have pretty high resolve, because you focus on magic that revolves around the mind, so it would make sense that your mind would also be very resilient. And your primary magic will revolve around influence, or the influence skill.
Supernatural ability, yep. And that's where I'd put build points. She's going to have... So we're looking at influence, learning, logic, will, and probably presence to make sure that resolve is good. If any of her attributes if you want to put any of your build attribute skills in at first level anyway into physical, probably more agility than anything else, because she looks pretty lithe.
Makes sense. I can't remember how to spell presence.
Presence. Presence. And that's what the build points would go with. And let me see. I don't know if I would categorize drawing cards as gathering power as much as gathering information and then turning that information into power. That's kind of how I visualize Blue Mage's working. So,
well, that's more words to say the same thing.
Yeah, I guess it does affect the words you use in an open legend have a bit more of an effect on what happens, or how it happens, I should say.
That's true, but it really, I suppose in an OL, there's a certain degree of it just really does come down to flavor, how you're personally applying the way the ability works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As the Open Legend Discord always says, fun is greater than story is greater than mechanics.
So, she could invest into the reading and telepathy portions. That the reading seems a bit more along the lines of activating a magical ability to know what's about to happen or go on. Sounds very blue magey.
Yeah.
She does, as you go up in levels, she does, as we pointed out, get a little bit of green in her mix, green and white. So investing into creation as you grow, not a bad idea, to kind of give that flavor in there. Let me see.
Sometimes people will let you have more than 2 perks. The Scholar perk would also be nice.
Mm-hmm. That would be nice.
She even has a pair of familiars. Yesterday and tomorrow.
Okay. Well, that sounds like the companion feat to me.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you'd really need to represent Splice in this game.
Splice.
Yeah, no. It's a specific magic mechanic.
Yeah, a Tamiyo card, you can pay the Splice cost instead of its normal cost to just put it on the board.
Well, that may be her. It
just makes me think of a friend that did nothing but flipping.
So
all the unique mechanics.
Splice makes it easier to summon her. Is that what I heard?
It makes it easier to summon other things. Familiar.
Well, I mean, if she could invest in summoning, I think when you go down that road, any of the Magic the Gathering planeswalkers can be summoners. They could all fit that archetype. And if she invests in creation, then as a level 1 build, I don't know if you would go with it right off, but you might go into the creation and do summoning, and then if she invests in summoning, she's basically splicing the cost of having to, in this case, the time amount to summon them.
Right. And you could use Boon Focus too, once you got into the summoning, which reduces the time amount it takes to invoke the summon creature boon.
Mm-hmm.
If you really wanted, but I don't think Splice is as important of a mechanic to this character.
Yeah.
In the specific instance of like yesterday, if the companion has its own perk, it would be that it lets her use heightened invocation more quickly, because that's essentially how the Splice mechanic on her yesterday works. And tomorrow does a very similar thing.
Do they have a picture for yesterday and tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
I don't know what block this is from. I really hope I'm not looking at like a fake card.
It's possible.
I might be.
I don't know. I don't see it. Tamiyo. Yesterday.
Well, knowing neither Magic the Gathering or enough to watch a shotgun, what I can say from what I've been reading is if there's combat, first and foremost, she looks like she's going to do her best to first avoid, second escape, but if she is forced to fight, she's going to use knowledge to win. She's not going to hit you with a sledgehammer. She's going to toss one BBN at that one specific part where it goes in and breaks the engine of your tank.
Well, tomorrow's definitely a real card. Yesterday, I think, is proxy.
Okay. I don't see it. I need links. And yes, you are right, Jason. She does avoid combat as much as possible, which does somewhat make the case for, instead of investing heavily in creation, using protection as her secondary means. Though prescience offers her a bit more in the reading things and stuff like that. So I don't know. It would definitely depend on what the rest of your group is like. If this is a one shot, if this is a one-on-one, then, or at least in a small group, you guys may convince your GM to let you be a bit more powerful, to have a bit more feed access than just this, so that you can fight those bigger battles, be epic, and story again over mechanics. So I think that's a good start for people. Now, if you like the conversions that we do and you want to see more of it in a more detailed manner, we have something else that we've done in the past called Ludus Magnus, but it is just a dedicated video build, and we're going to have to increase patronage before we do a lot of those. But if you guys are interested in those, you can let us know, and we will put them higher on the list to do. But I think
we have a couple written already, but they're not conversions.
Right.
They're the spotlight videos.
Okay. I think we've given enough ideas to get somebody started into Magic the Gathering conversion of Tamiyo. Any final remarks?
Yesterday is not a real card. Tomorrow is. But I like the idea of having both familiars, one named yesterday and one named tomorrow. That I think if I was going to convert one, I would just use the Reddit card yesterday. Because I think that's really flavorful. But I mean, it's your conversion, listener, viewer. So take yourself as seriously as you choose, my man. Lady, friend, person.
Dude, bro, individual.
Dude, bro, individual.
All right.
She's really into werewolves and vampires and what the moon does, so maybe tie her magic into the phase of the moon. I got nothing.
Yeah. I could see that too. Especially if you're running that theme of a game.
I'd have to actually get a hold of one of her stories and read it.
She came out in the Innistrad block, so that's kind of why she's so fascinated with so much moon stuff. Aside from,
I thought she came out in Kamigawa.
I did too, but apparently she did not. Her first actual appearance is in the Innistrad block. She has story ties.
Story-wise is from Kamigawa?
Yeah.
Like, that's where she was born? But that's not where we started caring?
Well, she probably also shows up in Betrayers of Kamigawa as well.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Okay.
She might not have been a Planeswalker yet.
Yeah. Tamiyo's stories. Tamiyo travels through the multiverse collecting stories. She uses these stories as catalysts for her magic. Oh, so we need to include a spellbook, basically.
She's a bard!
Yep. She's a Scrollmaster wizard or a bard.
Storyteller bard.
Storyteller bard.
Mechanically, that would be an extraordinary focus.
Yes.
There you go. And that may be, like, if you're a GM, that may be something that you eventually gift, that you eventually let your player earn to. An extraordinary item that she has written herself. And it says that she's got He Who Frightens the Sun, a story about greed, origin in Kamigawa. original from the creation of the anonymous Meyer, Origin, Mirrodin, and Winter's Howl, about a woman losing her husband to the cold, an ancient world, possibly Dominaria during the Ice Age. So, if you want, so that's like really flavorful stuff here. I'll give credit where credit's would due to WotC. They got a lot of fluff that you can pull from to make specific things for this character, or for any of the
Cold
characters.
Snap is a weird block.
All right.
King of Ice Age.
All right. I think that pretty much sums it up. We've gone long enough. We're over our time limit, I think. Yeah, just a little bit over our time limit. So we appreciate you sticking with us on it, and we hope that you had fun and that you enjoyed. As always, we want you to remember that the content that you see on the Planar Crossroads isn't brought to you by ads on YouTube or sponsorships so far that we've had. It's brought to you. It's brought to you by patrons and travelers like you. Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.
Yep. Have a great day. God bless.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. What does an extraordinary focus do?
This content was made possible by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you.